Oh, here we go. I'm here. I'll do that song again. Yeah, yeah, they can hear me too. There we go. I think we're good. How do I have? How do I have this up? Yeah, they can hear me too. There we go. I think we're good. How do I have? Do I have a screen? All right, rookie moves. What can you do? What can you say? Hey, welcome to the launch of ElijahLoving.com. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone being here. Appreciate just it's hard to believe that after a long road, we are finally here. This has started about a year and a half ago, and it's awesome to finally be at that moment in time. And just really appreciate it. So much to talk about, so much to kind of go over. Really what I wanted to do today is spend an hour time with you. We might go over like an hour and a half or that type of thing, but just spend an hour just going over. We'll talk about the website. I'll do a little bit of demoing. Also wanted to talk about a little bit of my journey that brought us to here, and then also this using this as a way to ultimately as a platform to launch off to with the last colony, which we'll be announcing, and that's another huge announcement happening right now this week, where today, actually in a week's time, we'll be announcing the date for the crowdfund, which will be very soon. And it just finally here, trying to get my thoughts going here. Like I said, it's been a hard road. One of the things that, and this is just kind of sort of a larger topic, that one of the things that led into this was, as artists, how do we make it? As illustrators, how do we make it in the world and actually make our art and make it, not only we want it to be profound, we want it to be exciting, and how do we grow at our craft? What are some things that we can do to improve? All these were like questions that, and along with that, where are our people? Where do they exist? Where do we find individuals out there that might be able to help us? Not only on that, where are the people that would be interested in our artwork and either partaking in our artwork, buying the artwork, or supporting in one fashion or another? And that's kind of the overall theme that I saw. And the other part of it is that while working at the university as a professor, I quickly found just how disconnected of a universe, funny, that's university, disconnected that was from reality in so many ways, and how the real world was viewed in an entirely different way, as far as like, how do you go about this business, and how do you go about your daily craft, and just your overall work, and improving, like all the things that I just mentioned. And because of that disconnect, I just really found that we really need to think about education in an entirely different way. And so because of that launched me down a path that has ultimately reawakened just who I am, what I want to be, what I hope to be. And it's just like, well, I see Running Deer's comment. I'll just put it up here, but I just like he's saying, I just really appreciate that all this work. I mean, how long I was talking to Josh about a year ago of this time, maybe. And it was just from Running Deer Publishing, and just how it's been a long journey. Not to mention the things that have happened around the world that we don't have control over, but just finding every inch of our way to move in the right direction. And so I'm sure I'm rambling all over the place. But essentially, that with the launch of this whole idea of re-education, of rethinking education in terms of how do we communicate in this modern age? How do we create genuine communities out of that, and genuine relationships out of that? And I think if we look at this, certainly this past year with all the lockdowns and the COOFs and all those types of things, the things that we don't have control over, I think we found a really unique way of the importance of the connections that we do have. I mean, real connections that we have, and finding ways to establish those connections. I mean, what I mean by that is relationships, and the importance of those relationships, and growing them in every way possible. And regardless if we sort of put on the mask or put off, or figuratively and also both, that it's sort of a thing that the importance of that connection and establishing that connection. I mean, going to the store where years ago people would be running you over to get to products and whatever. And now you go to the store, it just seems entirely different. And so I just mentioned all this as a good way to ultimately, as a platform, to jump off and really connect with individuals. And that was sort of our overall mission, to then take it back to where we wanted to ultimately provide ways to grow. And how do you do that? How do you grow as an artist to really hone in not only in your skills, but really hone in a way that is going to give you encouragement, uplifting, and all those types of things? That how do you jump ahead, so to speak, and maybe even the shortcuts? What are they to be able to grow as an artist and prepare yourself to kind of the next level? I don't know if you can kind of see behind me. What was it? Man from Snowy River. My finger. So Man from Snowy was the very first comic that I ended up producing and developing. And it came out of sort of a time where I was doing like abstract art and abstract painting. I don't even know if I have an example up here for you. But in any case, I was doing a lot of abstract stuff, and it wasn't necessarily something that I felt connected to, but I felt that that's what you did as an artist. You made abstract art because that's what is happening right now, and that's all you do. While when I go back as a kid, I always thought, man, it would be so amazing to make comic books and draw humans and figures and get them to look in a way so they're not stiff, but they have personality. And, drawing any of those things, or any human figure, especially children, it's incredibly difficult, very difficult to do. And so it's just like, I don't think I'll ever be able to do that. I just want to go down that path, and ended up doing this abstract art, which is more of a commentary on my thoughts upon the fact that I think a lot of ways we can do, I don't know, it's almost too easy. It's not challenging enough, other than, I suppose, the argument. You have to argue the fact that of the relevance. I don't know. Anyway, I was going in that direction, and halfway through my graduate experience to get my MFA, I decided this wasn't for me. This whole thing of this MFA thing at the school that I was at wasn't for me, and it just wasn't the right time. And so I stepped back and I thought, what's something that I've always wanted to do? And I remember my grandfather saying, you really should look at making comics. And I remember him saying this all through growing up. And he was so incredibly right that to really rediscover and go, you know what? After all the years of ignoring, I guess I was like 25 at the time, finally made this discovery that I need to go back and really make comics. So anyway, he's from Australia, and our family, I guess our family still is in Australia. And so we had made the decision to, well, it was at that sort of that realization to sort of pay homage, I guess, in a way of what he was trying to tell me. Now, if you read The Man from Snowy River, actually, I think, of course, you know the movie, I'm sure, with like Disney has it now. And with The Man from Snowy River, the poem is the part that the book, the comic that I took off of. And basically, I took the words from A.B. Patterson. It's out of copyright. And obviously, he has the credit. I didn't change any of his words, didn't change a comma or any of those sort of things. And I just illustrated for it. And it's essentially, if you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend The Man from Snowy River, certainly my comic book, wink, wink, but certainly in the movie, where it's this story of going from boyhood to manhood and the responsibilities that brings and the challenges that brings and the fear and all those things kind of bring in. And I think that's kind of the case of how I feel about this. It is so incredibly challenging to do this. It is so crazy. It's you'd have to literally jump off a cliff to think this is the right decision. And of course, with The Man from Snowy River, that's exactly what the boy did. He took his horse and he went down a cliff to go after his dreams. And that's exactly what it means to me. And so when I made that book, and then I ended up finding a particular program that was the right fit from Academy of Art and University. And again, not all universities are the same, and I certainly believe that and preach that. But on the other side of that is the whole idea that the possibility and potential that you can, along with those programs, make the right fit that fits for you. Well, I finished the Man from Snowy River and then kind of went down another path and realized that, again, back to this education thing as sort of an importance of reconnecting who we are, what we are, and our own potentials and the importance of that. And so the other part of that is that not all, there are some professors, teachers, mentors that actually do a excellent job of doing what they preach, or actually living the real world life, and then presenting and then developing their skills, selling their work, whatever that might look like in very different levels, and then being able to take that to a place where they can then turn around and teach those out there. And so having that real world experience and then actually living it on a day-to-day basis is it's a piece that's really missing in academia, I think, in so many ways. And so that's kind of a larger sense. All that being said, about a year ago, we had decided to revamp our website, leave the program that we were with, and go on to our very own program, which is certainly any of the work that I had done. All of our efforts kind of went towards that. All of our funding sort of thing went to that, so that we could build this independent, as much as possible, identity and develop out of that. And I guess that there's so many pitfalls. I mean, last year, of course, the lockdowns and everything sort of just stopped. And it was like, what do we do? Is this all this sort of stuff? Was this the right time? I was about to launch our comic, The Last Colony, which we're now about to do, or on the cusp of doing. And just amazing to think a year ago, this all happened. And then to come around and, is it the right story? Is it the right time? All these sort of things. And we had decided that no, we wanted to go as independent as possible, put our own sort of crowdfund, which will be on this website, elijahloving.com, and then be able to launch from there to be able to help support other artists. How that exactly looks, we're kind of in the, the first phases of that, of what that exactly looks like. But it certainly makes around the fact of developing an authentic, genuine community and the importance of that community and the importance that we have to rely on each other in a real, meaningful, and important way. So those are just kind of my thoughts in terms of what's led us here. It's hard to believe, but in any case, and I guess the other part of that too is just the hope and the idea of being able to inspire others to do the same and to go after something that seems so incredibly impossible, and to be able to go after that and find new possibilities and potentials, whatever the world decides to do or direction or whatever craziness happens, that we still push forward with our own dreams. And that's kind of the idea of where I guess I should mention the idea of Tikvah. If you haven't heard, that's our company name, and all of our work is based off of Tikvah Inc. And the idea, it's a Hebrew word which means hope. And it's not something that, when I think a lot of times we grow up with the idea, well, we hope or we dream, and it's not tangible. It's not real. If I hope something happens, I don't know, like this movie, The Secret or something. I don't know. But but it has more to do with the fact that if I put all of my energies and efforts and start putting these plans into reality, that's what hope is. Hope requires action. And that's kind of the idea. If I describe the Hebrew word as best as I can, it requires action. It's not something you just say without meaning or purpose, but it actually has something of value that you're putting forth. You're not dabbling. You're putting forth all effort behind it as much as humanly possible. And so that's in a nutshell, I think, ultimately what it means. I wanted to, let's see here, certainly post up any questions, comments, thoughts that you might have that you want to share. We'll post them up and discuss them. I did, let's see here. I'll do this first. So I wanted to do a little bit of I'm still learning the settings here, so bear with me. There we go. And do that. Go to here. Maybe this is where my sound's coming from. So let me there we are. Okay. Yeah, that works. Kind of hidden in the screen here. So what I wanted to do, oh yeah, that would help. Okay. So what I wanted to do is just kind of give you a tour of the place, and just the overall website. Again, it really started from a source of being told so many times that you can't do this. This is impossible. Try something else. Coming from someone that somehow got through high school not knowing how to read, getting partway through college. I could read, but I couldn't connect the ideas. And then coming out of that to a spot where like, whoa, I need to start over from scratch, start from the base. And what a perfect time. And so that's in our heart what a lot of this means. And so to be able to go from a platform that has their own algorithm, has their own sort of initiative or marketing or plan, and to be able to leave that and then go to what we have here, which is our own platform right here. let's see here. So ultimately, we'll have like a patron support. Right now, we'll just have these sort of subscribe for updates, which will take you to our project page here. I'll talk about that here in a second. This is the other part of that self-education, redefining what that means. And even though it's, I don't know, we're still working with that part, but basically in the sense that, yes, there's self-education, but you need a community surrounded or mentors around you to be able to again, help you go to that next level of your work. And then join the colony, all that sort of stuff. I think there's one thing that there's our Gwen lady from Last Colony. Kind of, I've been working a lot in watercolor lately, and this is more of our digital work. I'll do a lot of this in. I love inking. I love physically. Yeah, I suppose you can do it on my Wacom tablet here, but being able to do it physically inking, you can clean up and all that sort of stuff digitally. But I don't know, there's just something about it, pen to paper, right? I just love that process. I'm experimenting with a little bit of watercolor right now. Not quite sure if that's the right fit. I'll show some of my, this is kind of an early take watercolor. I like it, but it's hard. You want a certain signature to not only to your work, but then on top of it, you want something that is valuable to, that lends well to the story, that presents the story well. That's certainly important. I think this is something that I really like, these highlights right here on these guys' foreheads. You see my it happens to the best of us, right? Let's see here. So anyway, I have about 30 of those there. Do have a store to sell some of the prints, all that sort of good stuff. It's one of these things that as artists, we immediately want to be like, all right, there's this cool thing. You might want it, you might not. We want to be able to, we don't want it. It's so scary to be able to share your stuff and like, hey, support my stuff, but you don't have to. And it's like, no, our work is so incredibly important. Certainly you look at it and you can pick it apart and it's this, that, and the other, but it's so important to help support artists. Certainly with those that you align with their values and aligning with their values. And so in a nutshell, to be able to sell your work and to be able to share your work is so incredibly important. And the amount of hours that we put into this work, this frankly, this is like discount city. But we do it because we love it. We do it because we absolutely love it. But we know that it's so important to get our work out there. So I encourage you to check it. Hey, if you like an artwork, we do commissions and all those sort of things too. And we just really love to, this one in particular, this was a fun guy. This was actually the first original Black comic book character out in the world. I believe 1962 was the date of this. This was the first, oh shoot, his name's leaving my mind. Chat, help me out. Shoot, I can't think of his name. It's not Cable. Oh, for crying out loud. It's gonna leave me here. I'll come back to it. But he was the very first a guy came up to me and said he wanted to make a commission a particular work, and he wanted it to be about this particular, not Cable, starts with an L. Shoot, I'm gonna look this up. It's just gonna bug the tar out of me until I get it. Lobo, that's it. Lobo. I believe that's it. Let me make sure. Yeah, 1965. There we go. I got Lobo, the original Lobo, not the remake of whatever Marvel, rather DC Comics did. Lobo. And yeah, so Lobo was basically a character who was kind of he came out as it's about Civil War. He came out of the Civil War and then became sort of this cowboy making right in the world, and all that sort of good stuff. So it was a lot of fun to take that. Another artist he had commissioned did it. He actually did an exact template of a previous. I wanted to do a little bit of some previous cover or whatever. I took the cover as an inspiration from one of his works, on the previous works, and I wanted to add my own flair to it and energy and kind of go after it. So there he is, shooting off a gun, cowboy style. So Lobo, he was a fun project. Fun project. Let's see here. Patron, our goal with the patron stuff, again, I was talking about earlier, this is where kind of we'll be able to ultimately provide ways of, again, supporting the community. Right now, it's just kind of ultimately our way of supporting my work. And to, like I said, to be able to do this work, it's just a way to ultimately connect directly with, I say fans, and it's like, wow, people that dig the work that we do. It's kind of funny, but it's sort of a thing that we have to be more deliberate with supporting those that are meaningful within our lives, and reaching out with beyond just our community, and reaching out to those that directly support the artists. I think that's one of the biggest movements happening right now. I think sort of culturally, why we're really seeing like your DC or your Marvel or all those types of things, where they're just really struggling, not to mention because of their sort of overall mechanism or business model of using diamond distribution, but really finding ways to directly support artists. It's so incredibly important. And that's kind of our motive here, which we'll have other campaigns up. Like I said, we'll be announcing in a week's time the date for the last colony. And that kind of leads into, we'll skip contact. Well, just mention that. Hey, if you have a question or a thought, drop me a line. But as far as the follow bit, we are with the last colony. If you haven't joined up, or if you haven't maybe share this with somebody else, that again, the story takes place in a dark, America's gone dark. God forbid we actually go that direction. Feels like in so many ways, but we're going to make it. It's going to be sort of a thing where it takes place in a dark America in the backdrop of a civil war. And really it's about these characters essentially going through what we've gone through this past year of realizing and ensuring the importance of the loved ones that we have around us and the distances we'll go for our loved ones. And that really has a nutshell to do with it. I'll read the synopsis here. The Last Colony is an adventure about the last remaining survivors in a dangerous post-dark America. 3 companions are thrust into a situation that is deteriorating faster than they can handle. The small group is forced into a desperate attempt to rescue their loved ones caught in the crossfire, a gruesome military conflict of which they want no part. The Second American Civil War. And I've talked about some other aspects. It's not going to be sort of your red side, your blue side versus your red side. Freudian slip. Your blue side versus your gray side. But I'll share the trailer here in a second. But being able to, like I said, directly support artists is so incredibly important. And one of the things that we're doing, if you do sign up, you'll actually get a free mini comic. I can show that to you guys right now too. Let me we go. I'll share that with you guys so you can see the mini comic. There we are. So when you do sign up, this is the mini comic that you'll get. It's just all in type pencil. It's not going to go to print. It's not something I'm going to ultimately make into something else. This is only going to be a digital ash can offered, and yeah, it's just all in type pencil. It's in kind of it's a PDF is what it is. You'll be able to download it. Once you sign up on this form on the website, you'll be able to, which is elijahloving.com/join the colony. You got to work on that. Maybe that could be fixed. Anyway, 1,000 things to do, right? But basically you can really just, I don't know, get a sense for, I always thought it was cool. That was one of my favorite things of looking at too, was Jim Lee's stuff, and looking at it in sort of the pencil format of it. Pretty cool. Type pencil is such an awesome thing to look at. With any artwork that you do, you always want to go back and you're like critiquing oh, these things need to be fixed or all this sort of stuff. But then there's another side of me. Oh, this portion, who did that? I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I'm not trying to gloat. Those that know me best, I'm a very humble person, but it's neat to pinch when you get to a point when you're making your artwork and you pinch yourself. First off, am I really doing this for a living? And then the other part of that is that you just don't take it. You never take these things for granted. And the other part of that is just, it's so awesome to look at the work and go, wow, I know I can keep improving and getting better, and feeling that ambition and that excitement, rather, I should say. But then just looking at your work in that sort of context, there's other places I don't. But that's a part of the making comics. It's some panels you'll just absolutely fall in love with, and the other panels you just got to get them done, get them out the door. But anyway, this is kind of the ash can that you get when you do sign up for the comic. And let me go back to that. Where is it? There. So again, once you sign up on the website right here, our terms and conditions, you'll find them all the way down here at the bottom. Essentially, we're not going to abuse your email address. That is remotely not our goal here. We occasionally send out, I would say about once a month on average is what it tends to be. It has been about every other week or every 2 weeks. But essentially we'd be able to share this type of content directly with you. We share some information in terms of where the project is, how it's progressing, some of those types of things, which, by the way, in a few days, we'll be sending out an update directly with that email address. Let's see what else. I do want to show this video to you. This might actually be a really good time to do that. So here we are. All right. So one of the things is that, actually, I'll make this a little bit bigger, is that, again, hopefully this captures some of the idea of what this project means and how important this project is. And it's certainly important in the sense of us connecting with those around us. But I think hopefully it's just my way of saying, here we go. I don't know what I'm talking about. Here we go. Yeah, you can see last bit have changed. It's no longer the lastcolony.com. Awesome. So yeah, it's changed. So ElijahLoving.com / actually I'll do it this way. I'll type it in here. I'll put it in the banner. Yeah. So anyway, there's the link for that. ElijahLoving.com / join the colony. And what I mean by saying that it's important, each one of our endeavors that we go down, there's a major events in our lives, and this one would be a major event in my life because, well, this will be ultimately our first crowdfund, and it's exciting. It's exciting from my end, and I feel so privileged that there are individuals, you out there, that have taken the time and the effort with that. So, were you guys able to hear the music? Okay. Let me know in the comments. Any comments that I wasn't able to hear. Anyway, it's here. You can listen to it here on the webpage as well. Let's see what else we got. The other thing that I wanted to do today, just kind of really just to hang out with you guys. Oh, shoot. No volume? How did that happen? I don't know. Well, that sucks. Boo to that. How in the world? Well, that's all right. Like, it's going to eat me up, though. Well, like I said, you can see the trailer. You can listen to the trailer. You can listen to the trailer over here. So you can listen to it on the website. We do have it up there too. That's hilarious. There you go. Right there. This is where you watch it. Bam. That's how it goes, right? That's the road. Oh, that's all right. Let me share. Do you want to do here we are. So what I wanted to do, just kind of do a demo the rest of this time that we have together, for about 20 minutes. And just kind of demo for everybody kind of my philosophy or path to do flats, how I go about doing flats. And if you don't know, flatting is basically a way of just it's really the first step if you're actually an entire job where colors will actually pay for flatting to take place. It's such it helps cut out time in terms of from their perspective. And it makes it easier to select portions, be it different people, different panels, all those types of things, and be able to organize everything. I do work off of a Wacom tablet. I don't know what this is, a Cintiq HD 27. I think that's exactly what that is. Anyway, and so basically what this is just the inked version that's put in here. there's some other steps that I have to do that you'll go through, and sometimes you have to clean up with all the printing and all this sort of stuff that ended up taking place. Again, when you're going through some of these processes, you'll discover 1,000 things that you could do better the next time. Just to cut out any sort of thing that you go about to do the work that you're doing. But one thing is that this is the work from the Magic Order, and it's the work from Olivier, if I say his name wrong, Coppolo. I'll yeah. And essentially, he's a artist, and you can probably even tell that a lot of the work, if you look at it, he's a huge influencer on my own work. Just his overall style. A lot of times what I'll do is that even though I'm just flatting and you're just trying to get portions of it, I still try to match up roughly the color that I go after. And this is actually a page from The Last Colony that you're looking at here. And I just kind of roll through that. And I know some people don't necessarily do this, but I don't know. I'm big on labeling everything. It's kind of weird, probably, but I'll move this to multiply. And that's, man, I remember when that was such a big deal when Photoshop added that. You had to do this long, terrible process of separating the blacks from the whites there. Horrendous. Anyway, so what I'll do. Fat fingers. There. So what I'll do to start off with is you just kind of go it by panel by panel. This is the lasso tool. And I have my I don't know, you kind of everyone has their own personal settings with it. And let's kind of see. So really what I do is I'll break it up panel by panel, and I'll kind of show you the next step after that. Let's see here. Actually, and the colors don't necessarily have to match per se of anything. And even if you're going to do, let's say, more traditional, this is actually a really good process to follow along with, to be able to make some of this. Because then you can change the color of the panel, even if you're using some other. And so that's basically what you're doing. You're just working from the largest detail to the smallest detail. And really I don't know if you know, you're knowing like the short keys, so important. What I'm holding down to make those straight lines is Option. I don't know. Here. All right. So from there, and I'll actually have to, I probably should at some point in time share this with you guys, but what you're basically going to do is actually really, really cool. When you have it selected, I have this shortcut, which essentially duplicates it. And then what I can do is that I can, you'll kind of see here, I'm going to just kind of quickly go through her. It's going to be really rough, and I can go back and I'll actually clean this up, but I'm going to go over the borders and all that sort of stuff. And this is super fast. So having actions is such a huge time saver. It's not even comparable. So I can be kind of messy with my selection here. And then when I go through and I actually add in color, it's just going to highlight just her, which is so awesome. Really, really cool. But like I said, I'd want to, I'm really roughly doing this, but so basically you have over here, it locks that in. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll make this into, each panel has its own section. And then from there, you can break this up even further, where you could then do the same thing. And let me find a better example. Let me use him as a better example of that. The second panel here. So select that, hit my action. That locks that in. I'll put that in the group too. Yeah, I find flatting very relaxing. Right? No, it's pretty cool to do. It's one of these things where it's almost like it's just like a coloring book, but with a lot more really cool, powerful tools that you have. Absolutely. I'll show you this example of him though. Let's see here if I can. So again, it's one of these things where you just work from the largest to the smallest. And you're not particularly worried about exact color choices here, other than you're trying to get just kind of the essence of the idea. So that you can go back and really add in the cool stuff that really makes your work pop. Being kind of messy here. And I probably should be zoomed in a little bit more, but to really get these lines. And also on top of it, you want to go back through and you want to clean up any of the imperfections that exist in your ink work. There we are. So one really cool thing, now that he's selected that way, I can go back through and I'll hit this action again, and then you just kind of break it down even further. So I'll hit his hat here. Oh, see, I just out of habit. So I could really just select that. I didn't have to necessarily. Here, I'll show you. We'll yeah, there we go. We'll make it messy. Let's see here. Yeah. So you're just dividing up the parts that you do want. You divide it up. Flatting with these shortcuts, so awesome. This is also sort of a time where you can experiment. He has a golfer shirt on. Maybe it's more like this. There you go. He just went out to the golf. No, but it gives you a chance to play with the colors, mess around with things. The other reason why I have a lot of his work up, you can use this as kind of a guide for you in terms of the overall, be it color values. Again, you can worry about if it's going to take place at night or during the day or all that sort of stuff later. Really just flatting, just trying to get everything in place. If I can flat one more here, one more person anyway. Yeah, so as long as I have that layer selected, it's gold. And like I said, I probably would want to zoom in, like clean up the inks. But you can always go back and do that because it's on a different layer. It's really messy. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, here. So just really appreciate everybody. Thank you, Maverick. Thank you for your work, everything that you do, fellow compadre of mine. And then thank you, Running Deer Publishing, Joshua. You're awesome. Awesome stuff. And then, yeah, thank you, Braden, also another compatriot. You guys are awesome. Really means a lot. And this only brings out the importance of us finding ways to work with each other and developing more meaningful relationships. And I think that's exactly what this time is about. And I hope that we continue to take every opportunity to do that. Just everybody that's watching, I just really encourage you, head over to the website, sign up, pass it around. Any of these projects that as independent artists that we do, and there's so many of us that are awesome at it, that we need to more directly support the artists that are out there, illustrators that are out there. And I just want to invite you to do that we are far more, as we, whatever ends up happening in the future, that we're far more deliberate with the time that we do have. And we're pushing the envelope in terms of reaching out for the individuals out there. And this is our best effort, and our best, the way that we have found that we absolutely love sharing comics, love sharing with everyone's work out there. It's a pleasure to do that. And I hope that we continue to do that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me for an hour and kind of me meander around my clumsy words, and just really appreciate the time. So congrats to everyone else out there, in the sense that I hope that we continue to push forward and see each other's work grow. Genuinely mean that from every ounce of my being. I think that's all I had for today. Again, thanks for spending the time, and we will catch you guys later. Now, and then one more thing is that we will actually, like I said, I'll be announcing the date here in about a week, as far as the last colony, and then we'll jump into the launch of that event as well. So all the best. We'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.